Do you want to talk about love? Puppy love? You can't pant. Stop panting. Bring up the topic of love, and it brings up a lot of questions. Some of them kind of silly. Like, who doesn't want in? Who wouldn't want to be part of something that holds as much promise and value as we, all, the collective, have attached and associated with it? All over the world, as bodies, we come together, we unite, we join in various ways in the name of love. But for how long? How long does it last? How do you stay in it at maximum fullness, always and forever? And who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to be a part of that? Sign me up. I'm in. It has been said that true, real love is a difficult concept to define. Considering that a concept is an abstract idea or general notion, that would make true, real love intangible. Any attempts to define the word or to derive a theory to understand or predict the course of something as intangible as real love leads us in circles. Because practically in that same breath, it is said that any diction-based definition of love will never truly, really do it justice. The common words we encounter in most definitions center around feelings and emotions based on more concepts: attraction, affection, fondness, caring, attachment, desire, intimacy, and specialness. From basic dictionary definitions to all the types of love, such as those discussed in Sternberg's triangular theory of love, all coupled with degrees of intensity and the choice about when to give it or when to withdraw it. What's very clear is that our understanding of love is anything but clear, yet our attraction to it is undeniable and universal. What is love? An intense feeling of deep affection, a feeling of deep romantic or sexual attachment to someone, affectionate greetings conveyed to someone. Define affection: a gentle feeling of fondness or liking. Define to like as a verb: to feel attraction toward or take pleasure in, to wish to have, to be suitable or agreeable, to feel approval toward or to prefer. The archaic definition of affection: the act or process of affecting or being affected. So, affection would be to impress an opinion or sentiment of approval onto someone or something that one has been affected and impressed by, as in subjected to an opinion or sentiment of approval. We might be getting somewhere. What about attachment? Affection, fondness, sympathy for someone or something. From the old French, attacher, to fasten or fix. The action of attaching something. An example of tender attachment could be defined as a feeling of liking and caring for someone or something. could attachment be an attempt to connect? And lastly, the legal seizure of property. Is love the legal seizure of another being as property? That's marriage to me. But we're getting an idea of what we believe love is. Let's talk love triangles. The triangular theory of love, which states that true love is a combination of the three components of intimacy, commitment, and passion, and outlines how these aspects combine at various intensities with one another as different types of love are experienced. Intimacy is comprised of feelings of closeness, connectedness, and bondedness in loving relationships, where passion encompasses physical and emotional drives, which lead to romance, physical attraction, and sexual interaction. The tie that binds being the decision for commitment, on a continuum once again between the short term, where one comes to the realization that they love someone, and in the longer term, choosing to maintain that arrangement. Love. Put it all together, all three of them in the perfect intensity, and you have the holy grail of love, covenant or consummate love. And in the combining of these aspects and the degrees of their intensity, you have everything from friendship to liking, to empty love based on short-term physical attraction, to infatuation. How does that work where the love between a parent and a child is concerned? Enter the discussion of all the different types of love there are, because that's called storge. Totally different than romantic or fatuous or agape or philia. We underscore possessive pronouns to the roles of those whom we claim we love. What are your intentions with my daughter? I hope you're a good wife to my son. He's such a good boy. He deserves a good wife. Did you have an affair with my wife? I didn't have an affair with your wife. Or how a little girl tugs on her father's arm when her mother comes near and snaps, "My daddy," as though there's some kind of proprietary ownership to our association with these beings, because we just love them so much. What is the extent of your relationship with my husband? I found some emails and texts. I just want to understand. I don't want to bother you. Is that what love is? Ownership? Is love an intense but gentle, exclusive feeling of affection, aka attraction, pleasure, desire, suitability, agreeableness, attachment? Is love attachment? And does it intend to influence or impress a mutual feeling in kind, exactly the same, of tender affection in another? Pendulum swings both ways. You've got to realize that when you have to use the very words you're trying to define in the definition of the word you're trying to define, that you don't have a clue what that word or concept actually means. But you'll know when you find it, or find yourself in it. And in order to find something, you have to look for it, right? Some signs would be helpful. Where romantic love is concerned, all the signs of falling and being in love as a human body are biomarkers of the fight or flight reaction of the sympathetic nervous system, the branch of the autonomic nervous system that governs the stress reaction and prepares us for an emergency or the belief that our body's survival is in question, or that our ego is about to take a beating. Don't worry, by the time our lessons are complete, you'll recall that you're not the ego or a body. But attempting to define the word or concept of stress probably as easy as defining love. Let's just say stress can be interpreted as the perception of attack or the preparation to attack. Scientific evidence links the experience of romantic love with higher levels of the stress hormone cortisol and attributes an increase in anxiousness, tension, or jitters to a normal response to the strain of repeated social encounters with someone whose impression matters deeply to you, also known as the potential of being judged. Is that what love is? The aftermath of believing you're about to be approved of or rejected? There are at least as many theories about stress as there are about love, from the Cannon-Bard theory to the James Lang to the Schachter-Singer theory. The occurrence or perception of the potential occurrence of stimulating events, either positive or negative, trigger a cascade of physiological reactions to help the system deal with the situation. The amygdala, as the emotional center in the brain, processes strong emotions such as fear, pleasure, and anger. Signals are then sent to the cerebral cortex, which controls conscious thought, where an opinion may be formed. The thalamus signals through the autonomic nervous system via the vagus nerve, which controls internal organ and muscle function, to activate reactions such as sweating, shaking, increased muscle tone, and reduced digestive function. Your pupils dilate to take in more light and information about the potential threat you're facing, such as being judged, or getting ready to judge, or figuring out whether or not you're suitable for one another, or whether your potential partner is pleased with your physical appearance. Your mouth is as dry as the Algerian desert as your saliva production is inhibited, which may or may not affect the freshness of your breath. Your heart races and pulse quickens as your skin touches theirs, and you wonder if they're receptive to what's building in intensity. Urine fills your bladder in its relaxed state, which is one of the reasons it's so hard to pee after an orgasm. You've been hanging out in fight or flight for the last 4 hours, reacting physiologically as though your survival was at stake. Peeing happens when you can let your guard down, or after you surrender in the jaws of that lion. Is that what love is? Because if falling in love is stressful, staying in love is going to be at least as much, and will take some work as you attempt to protect that property you've won over and acquired. Maybe we'll find some instructions on how to do that in a love song. It's been estimated that there have been over 100 million songs about love recorded over the last 150 years, since the practice of recording music began. There are no coincidences, there are no mistakes, and luck is merely cause and effect, unrecognized. Which brings us to the City of Love in 1857, when Edouard Léon Scott de Martinville invents the phonautograph in Paris. 20 years before Edison invented the recording process, Scott de Martinville invented a device for recording sound. He called it the phonautograph and patented it on March 25, 1857. While it was able to record sound, it wasn't able to play it back. but in 2008, US researchers from the First Sound Collective organization digitally converted the phonautograph recording of Au clair de la lune that de Martinville made on April 9, 1860. And it is the earliest recognizable record of the human voice and the earliest recognizable record of music. Which brings me to a recent memory of a duet of Au clair de la lune that I sang with a certain someone in the middle of the night after we had, interestingly enough, made love. Coincidence? Il n'y a pas de coïncidence. You would think with as many songs as there are about love, not to mention all of the written literature that has ever been written about it, that we would have learned the meaning of it and acquired a better grip on it. But alas, no luck. Sometimes it is necessary to acknowledge what something isn't in order to fathom what it might be. What is it for? Why love? Why should you love someone? Google it. You'll find all sorts of articles giving you conditions and characteristics that make someone worthy of your love. Is that what you want? To have to prove your worthiness in order to be loved? I love you because of this. I love you because you are this, because you do this. I love you because you make me feel like this. What happens if I stop doing those things? What happens if you change your mind and don't think I make you feel the way you think I used to make you feel? Then what? Let's try a different perspective. Try to feel our way to one that resonates without activating fight or flight. What if instead of looking at love as a concept requiring the proximity of bodies, physical form, words, and behavior, what if we saw it as a state of mind, an unchanging state of being? In the study of vibrational sciences, the human superpower is focused attention. And from a quantum mechanics perspective, focused attention energizes what is focused upon or what is being observed. Could love be about attention? Is that what we want? To be paid attention to? That would make sense considering how energized we can feel when someone is paying attention to us, especially when their focus is of the higher vibrating frequency of positivity, nurturing us, validating us. From that vantage point, could we perceive love as energizing, not depleting the way the stress reaction is when we believe we're being judged or getting ready to attack, physically or with our thoughts? So, is real, true love energy. What is energy? Yet another concept. Intangible, and yet, what are we without it? In the fields of engineering and thermodynamics, energy is defined as the potential or capacity to do work. Thermodynamics, the branch of physical science that deals with the relations between heat and other forms of energy, and by extension, of the relationships between all forms of energy. What about love? It can motivate, it can inspire. In its truest essence, it is an all-powerful force without ever being forceful. And at the same time, it energizes without limit. Think of the potential to do work in those terms. What could you not do with true, real love, supporting and energizing you? You could do anything. The laws of thermodynamics boggle the lay mind, but there is one I can wrap my mind around without getting a headache, and that I embrace with every ounce of my being. It's the first law. It states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed under any circumstances. It can only be converted from one form to another with the interaction of heat, work, and get this, internal energy. Here we go again, describing a concept, using that very concept to define the concept. If something has internal energy, where did that energy come from? A source of energy within, which would justify the term internal energy. And if true, real love is energy, and there is internal energy in things, could we also interpret that there is internal love? Where did it come from? It couldn't have come from outside of you, because that would negate the term internal. And yet, you look for it outside of you. True, real love can neither be created nor destroyed. It is all that exists. It is energy. The only thing that exists. That would mean that true, real love cannot be made any more than energy can be made. You don't make love. You have sex. And sex isn't love. Don't assume I'm against sex. I'm not. At all. But it's not a marker of true, real love. Sympathetic nervous system activation. Yes, it is a marker of that. Fight or flight. Yes. But not love. And if you have sex, it doesn't mean that the person you're having sex with loves you, or even knows how to love, or even knows what love is. They might just be playing a role, even if they married you. And please don't delude yourself into thinking that some sex is love and some sex is something else. Sex is sex. True, real love has nothing to do with sex. True, real love doesn't come at the expense of another. And it doesn't exclude. It extends in all directions.
This is not about orgies and menage-a-trois and polyamory. No. True, real love, being energy, doesn't exclude. It flows without limit when it is allowed, and it is infinitely available. Love waits on welcome, not on time. Love extended itself in creation, and it is extended in its manifestation when it is allowed to be, or it's blocked, just like energy. If you introduce resistance or impedance in an electric circuit, you reduce or block the flow of electrons. Where a light fixture and switch is concerned, flipping the switch off introduces resistance into the flow of electricity, turning off the light or dimming it and giving us something we call darkness. Funny thing though, if energy is blocked, it doesn't avenge that blocking by withholding itself at a later time when it is allowed to flow once again. It waits on welcome of allowing, not on time. But it is always available in an infinite amount, degree, and intensity. True, real love doesn't withhold or punish. The freedom energy affords is inconceivable to the analytical brain. The amount of work that could be done with an infinite amount of energy, how's that for mind-blowing? The amount of energy present in the one unified field of all the energy that exists is infinite, incalculable by a mathematical formula. It's like love defies mathematics. True, real love is absolute freedom. It doesn't try to control, it doesn't criticize, it doesn't condemn or reprimand, it doesn't attack, it doesn't resent, it doesn't accuse. It recognizes the illusion we look upon with our five senses as just that, an illusion, a dream, if you will. And so it forgives without limit, because ultimately it knows no wrongdoing ever occurred. So through the eyes of true, real love, one you love can do no wrong. Love allows the materializing of all possibilities unconditionally. It facilitates all, and it energizes everything. It accepts each moment of yet another illusion, time, as it is, and surrenders the idea that anything about it has to change. It sees only the infinite divinity that we are, regardless of form, regardless of matter or material, regardless of behavior. And it trusts completely. Only real love trusts completely, without question. And complete, unquestioned, and unquestionable trust is called faith. Love is and has faith. It is not fear, and it has no fear. It doesn't fear loss, it doesn't fear missing out, because it knows that everything is as it should be in the moment it finds itself. So, if that could be what love is, what are we doing here? Out here. Looking for love? Following our hearts? Not realizing that love is already inside us and we inside it? Or are we pretending? Are we looking for a caricature of love? A parody? Are we making a mockery of love? No matter. Love doesn't give a fuck. It is no matter what. It is within us and we within it. It is our source of energy and we are extensions of it, not as bodies, but as the infinite minds, the fields of energy that project the bodies, never separate from one another or our source of true, real love within us. Anything else is just a role, a part we play in this performance to entertain ourselves on our way back to the memory that separation is impossible and never occurred. We are here focused with our minds in this vibrational playground of illusions to rise above it all and remember that we are always safely, ecstatically inside love. And it is always inside us. It will never pull out. It will never withdraw. It will never withhold itself. It will never pace itself. It will never need time to lick its wounds before it can love another. It will never devalue us. It will never discard, and it will never replace us. We are altogether irreplaceable in the mind of love. And the love is in constant motion. It never moves on. What could it move on to when it is all there is? But as we move on from body to body, partner to partner, wife to wife, we exhaust ourselves looking for it with a ravenous desire to consume and incorporate it. Love doesn't need to come inside us. Being the Alpha and Omega, it has been within from the very beginning. And we don't need to penetrate it. We are already safely, eternally within it. Every single one of us, together in perfect oneness. We are here to play roles and to toggle between thoughts thousands of times in a day, to change our minds at the drop of a hat. I want you, I don't want you. I want that, I don't want that. I don't feel like that right now. To play the roles of the heartbroken and the heartbreaker, the jilter and the jilted, the replaced and the one who never stops replacing. The new wife who needs to understand the nature of her husband's relationship with anyone. We're here to perceive ourselves unfairly treated and deceived, when the entire time we are deceiving ourselves by believing that to love is of the body, when in fact it is only of the mind. We're all method actors. Very convincing in our performances, so convincing that we ourselves believe we are the roles we're merely temporarily playing. Bodies, separate, alone and worthless, without the presence of another body to exchange gratifications and to validate us. How does that feel to you? Do you feel safe in the confines of an institution, declaring vows that courts of law can dissolve so easily? Then continue to draw up contracts and make arrangements and define the parameters of your relationships in terms of what you will and will not tolerate from one another. In the name of love, parameters with what your needs and wants are and how someone else is supposed to deliver them to you. Conditions and expectations and consequences if they're not met. But be ready to let go of it all once one of you remembers that freedom is their deepest desire. I invite you to realize that true, real love does not transact. There is no currency you need to interact with it. Love has one language, and though there are many words we attempt to use to describe it, its central theme rests only on giving and extending of itself, and never expecting anything in return. That's love. And there is one whose love you have access to always. That one is always thinking about you, always paying attention to you. They're never judging you as wrong or right or wicked. They're never withholding joy or pleasure or happiness from you. That one is your source. That is the love you look for in this world and never find. But it is within you, and you have your being within it. We are all eternally in love, and we all have one another. We cannot lose each other. We cannot be separate from one another, divided by oceans and continents and countries. And we're not special and in competition with one another for the love we yearn for and crave and exhaustingly seek. As fields of energy, we are all equally attended to and focused upon and infinitely provided for inside perfect oneness. The only reality, love. This is the extent of my relationship with anyone. Do you understand? And if I have written to play a role in another's evolution and they in mine, no egoic transactional contract will block that unfolding. And this, mon cher même, is love. Accept it as it truly is when it is extended to you, as it really is, and offer no substitute in its name. You have me with you always in perfect oneness, and because you are my energetic equal, you are me. All roles aside, we are the same, forever and for always.